For a very long time, Raila Amolo Odinga has always remained very relevant in the Kenyan political scene, from the Moi era to Kibaki for the 2 terms that Kibaki ruled this country, to Uhuru Kenyatta for the 10 years that Uhuru ruled, and now William Samoei Ruto. When William Ruto was campaigning, he promised Kenyans that this time round he was going to cast Raila Amolo Odinga into a wheelbarrow and he will take him to Bondo. And we thought that William Ruto was daydreaming because Raila is not a featherweight in the political field. He's a force to reckon with. In fact, most of his supporters believe that Raila won the 2022 elections. Were it not for Wafula Chebukati and Madam Martha Koome and of course Meg Whitman, they believe Raila would have been the president of Kenya today, not only in 2022, but even the subsequent seasons. But it now seems that William Ruto was right when he said that he would take Raila. He would make sure that Raila retires from politics and he takes him to Bondo.
Mimi niwaulize watu wa Bungoma. Sasa hawa watu wanatusukumia mtu ya kitendawili. Mimi nauliza nyinyi watu wa Bungoma. Mtu ya kitendawili tunasukumiwa saa hii ni mwingine ama ni ule tunamjua? Si mtu ya kitendawili tunamjua? Kwani ni mgeni kwetu? Kwani amefika juzi? Kwani ni malaika ameshuka? Ni mtalii ametutembelea? Si tunamjua? Si ni ule kataa matokeo ya uchaguzi? Si ni ule wa kupanga vile reli itang'olewa? Si ni ule wa kujiapisha? Si ni ule anakataa hata sadaka kutoa kanisani? Sasa si ni ule jamaa ana agenda atitibim tialala na ria. Sasa mimi nauliza nyinyi, huyo ndio tutategemea ati abadilishe mambo yetu ya Kenya? Hajajua kupanga akiwa kijana. Saa hii miaka ndio hiyo imefika karibu 80. Sasa ndio atajua kupanga vile Kenya itaendelea? Tuambiane ukweli watu wa Chwele. Ile kazi moja tu imebaki na sisi na huyo mzee wa kitendawili, tumupandishe kwa wheelbarrow express mpaka Bondo aende apumzike. Ama mnasemaje? Ama mnasemaje?
In this video, ladies and gentlemen, I want to reveal to you how William Ruto has constructively hatched a plan to destroy Raila Amolo Odinga, because Raila had bounced back when he started strengthening the ODM party until Gen Zs went to the streets and William Ruto was almost kicked out of office. Then he cried out to Raila Amolo Odinga that these people are going to topple my government, and part of this government, part of my team, are the ones who are plotting to oust me. And Ruto told him, if you don't help me, then I'm going to hand over power to the military. Raila, in his usual manner as a statesman, decided to help William Ruto, and they entered into a handshake. With that handshake, ladies and gentlemen, very many things have been born on the way, and this is what is going to kill Raila Amolo Odinga. Number one, the Adani deal is a skunk. It is stinking to high heavens. You've seen how people, after the revelation that Adani wanted to secretly take our airport without public participation, spending a lot of money, the fate of the Kenya aviation workers is still not known. And now this Adani deal is haunting Raila Amolo Odinga, because Raila donated people he called experts to William Ruto to help him, revive the economy. Opiyo Ndai is at the center and is now the Energy Cabinet Secretary. I want you to see how Opiyo Ndai was goofing and trying so hard to defend Adani. It is unbelievable that Raila allies, who have been known to fight on behalf of Kenyans, are now defending a corrupt deal in the face of it, because there is no any other way of describing this. Kindly listen to and look at the facial expression, how Opio and I was trying so hard to defend this deal.
They have also done many project management consultancy roles for transmission projects in Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia, South Africa, Mozambique, and elsewhere. With regard to Adani Energy Solution Limited, because Adani has become, what can I call it? Has become famous in the recent past. But I'm now talking about Adani Energy Solution Limited today, because that is what is most relevant for our purpose. So, Adani Energy Solution Limited have cumulative transmission network of about 21,000 circuit kilometers of power transmission lines and some 61,000 MVA transformation capacity. A bit technical, but these guys will break it down for you guys. They privately own more energy infrastructure. This Adani Energy, from my own investigation. They privately own more energy infrastructure than Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania combined, as we speak.
No, this Adani deal has become the biggest scandal ever in the history of Kenya. And it is seemingly going to be the biggest it's not even compared to Anglo Leasing or Goldenberg. It was done in a very clandestine manner. The ODM party is not talking about it, except I have seen the senator for Kisii, Onyonka, and of course Ledama Lekina, and maybe Babovino. Those are the people who are trying to poke holes into this Adani deal. All the other ODM members are quiet. And this is going to nail Raila down, because Raila has been known to be a man who is exposing scandals, a man who is exposing dossier. I remember when Churchill was in the energy docket, Raila exposed the G2G oil deal. Yet now he has become part of this rotten government and is going to shoulder the weaknesses and the rot in it. This is how Raila Amolo Odinga is going to be cast in a wheelbarrow. And if he's not careful, he's going to end up to Bondo. I want you to listen to how the religious sector have decided that they are not going to keep quiet, and they are condemning this, because the condemnation that this deal is attracting is just so enormous.
The Constitution requires what we call public participation on anything that is touching the affairs of the citizens of a nation. It is very unfair to hear that there is a deal that has been going on for months, only known to the preserve of few individuals in this country. As the Vice Chair of the National Council of Churches in Kenya and the President of PEFA Churches in Kenya, I stand here today in South Mugirango to condemn in the highest terms possible any deal that is done without Kenyans knowing. We pray that everything stop, everything be reviewed to the satisfaction of the Kenyan population. It is time that we do things right in this country. It is time that we obey the laws, honor the Kenyan people, even the ones that are not in Nairobi need to know what is happening in our international airport.
Raila has been known to be very resilient. and he knows how to, maneuver himself into the murky waters of Kenyan politics. But this one is going to nail him, because there is no way Raila is going to try and defend himself that he was not part and parcel of this. His party is not talking about it, and people are likely to associate him with this scandal. There are already talks that there are people who benefited from this Adani deal, and most likely Raila's name is going to be slotted in there. And I know there are political opponents who wants to fix Raila on this. And as I said, the handshake produced very many things, and Adani deal is one of them. Number two is the Gen Zs. Raila Amolo Odinga has been known to be going to the streets to fight for Kenyans, electoral justice, the cost of living, and what have you. This time, when the Gen Zs went to the streets, people thought that Raila would stand with them. They told Raila, "We've seen your efforts, and please now stay at bay, stay aside, and we want to pick it from where you left it." When William Ruto went to Raila that some people wanted to topple his government, Raila joined the government and urged his members not to go to the streets. And with that, people thought that Raila negated all the gains that he had worked so tirelessly to gain, a reputation that he had really worked so hard to build, that he left them crumbling down. And people now say that for the period that Raila has been going to the streets and people have been killed, Raila never meant it. Raila went there for self-aggrandizement. And so the Gen Zs are saying that our number one enemy is Ruto, Gachagua, and Raila. And come 2027, all of them should go home. This is yet another poison chalice that William Ruto gave to Raila by detaching himself from the Gen Zs. And people feel, even though he didn't tell Gen Zs to stop the demonstration, but by pulling out his support base, because his supporters are known to organize for organized demonstrations, and they are there in their numbers, and they always intimidate the government of the day. But when he pulled that support base, Gen Zs were left a shell. And with that, people felt he betrayed Kenyans, and he will not be able to bounce back from it. Number three, Raila's bid to become the African Union chairperson. If Raila wins that seat, well and good. But if Raila fails to capture that seat, I can assure you that William Ruto will come back and say, "I campaigned for him. We channeled a lot of money." There are millions and millions of shillings that have been channeled in Raila's campaign. And you saw them when they were in China for the China African Summit. And Raila Amolo Odinga went there, and William Ruto introduced him to African leaders. You saw how they launched Raila's bid, the official bid to become the African Union chairperson, and Museveni was here, very many representatives. Ruto will say, "We tried." And then you will hear them saying that Raila is not sellable locally, not sellable, to the other president. They will say that this man was cast and is destined to fail. And if Raila fails to capture that seat, Raila will not come back. Even if he comes to contest, people are tired of what has happened. He ignored the Gen Z's call because Gen Z's had pushed Ruto to the wall. He has joined the bandwagon of corrupt leaders. That is how people see him, cutting deals, because the Adani deal is full of money. It was revealed that Murkomen was part and parcel of a delegation that went, and a meeting was held, and there's a likelihood that money exchanged hands. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I want to submit very humbly to you that Ruto could have been right when he said this time round is taking Raila to Bondo. I don't know what to think, but that is my take.